Welcome to our new series, the 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie. Let's move on, and let me talk about my second movie. And
Okay.
so again, I go to Netflix. I think I saw on Netflix, and like you, I don't know if it's
Huh?
a new. I was looking at summaries. I'm like, I kind of wanted to get something in the suspense category, because I like a lot of suspense thrillers. What's going on? We've talked about this. Some have hit, like Coherence, and some have missed. And so, Soto, let me read to you what I read that caught my attention, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fucking do this.
God.
No, it's well. Yeah, I already kind of spilled the beans that my next couple aren't going to be the greatest, but anyhow,
That's okay.
what I'm about to read is probably going to be the best part of this whole review. So hold on, so this is what I read. A woman is left handcuffed to her dead husband as part of a sick revenge plot. Unable to
God.
unshackle, she has to survive as two killers arrive to finish her off. Simplistic.
Wow.
So you're like, okay, I'm like, how the fuck does this happen? Where does this go? So
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing outside of what I read. And I think, again,
Instant mystery.
90 minutes. I love it. I'm like, I can squeeze this in, chill, watch it, quick and easy. So, yes, this is the 2021 film Till Death. And it stars Megan Fox. And yes, I did not have watching a Megan Fox film on my radar for this 200 movie challenge.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
this might be, I don't think this is a hot take. She's not a great actress. And I'll leave it at that.
No.
No,
Not a lot of range.
no,
Not a lot of
definitely
range.
not a range. And Soto, there was no range in this fucking film. I felt so emotional. So basically, let me give you a premise. So she's about to celebrate her. It starts off actually, she's with the man, and they just whatever slept in. She's getting ready, and she's just telling him like, you're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore with you. I'm like, you don't know what's going on, and she's like, I gotta end this. He's like, well, can you just stay a few more minutes? She's like, no, I have to go home to my husband. So you already know that she's
Oh.
cheating on her husband with this other guy, and you're like, okay, already, that makes you kind of a despicable person.
Yeah.
Just and she's the star of the film who we're supposed to root for. So they start us
Right.
off with that, not give us a reason why her husband's not a great man. So now they're getting ready. Her and her husband are getting ready for their 10th anniversary. Big deal. This and that. And their whole interaction, Soto. I don't know if you got the two worst. Everything was so deadpan. Now I get it. They're in a loveless marriage. Something happened, and you can just feel the tension. But there is just. I'm looking at both these people. I'm like, I hate what's going on. And so they're
Wow.
going out to dinner, and they see this other, fancy restaurant somewhere that you have to like book well in advance. He is a lawyer, so obviously money, and you can tell there's a lot of money, but they're at a restaurant and they see this other guy propose, and she's all excited, and they're just watching, and they're just this, and the husband looks at her and it says, hey, do you remember when you used to act like that? And so you're like, okay, where's this going? He buys her a gift. He has like this nice diamond necklace, and she's like, I thought we weren't doing gifts. And he puts the necklace on her, and she actually got him a gift. She got him 50-yard Super Bowl tickets. And
Jesus.
I'm like, how the fuck did you get that? Anyhow,
Yeah, that's
so that
expensive.
she's like, well, you always want to go. And she made it crack. I forget what team he liked. He's like, I think she's like, maybe I thought the Steelers were going to be in it. He's like, oh, they suck, whatever. So they're leaving there. He's like, I got one last surprise. And she goes to the car, and he leaves a tip, and then you see the waitress open up the envelope, and he tipped her the Super Bowl tickets. I'm like, damn, that is a fucking tip.
Wow.
So that's this is the start. And then he takes her basically to a lake house. It's a lake house where they kind of have some fond memories. Now, mind you, this isn't like in January or February. So we're in wintertime. It's very peaceful. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And so he's just like, I'm trying to, I want to rekindle what we once had. Can we somehow get back to what we used to be? And she's just like, I don't know. And, he kind of does this whole ordeal. Like he had her blindfolded, obviously. And she sees like, he places like photos, old school photos of them smiling from probably, when they first met up to their wedding. And candles. So I don't get why people, I know it's a movie thing. I want to find a real person who sets candles all over the house, up and down the stairs. Yes, I
Nope.
get maybe a candle or two, but
Never done it.
all I think is like, okay, they're going to do their business in the bedroom. This is a fucking fire hazard.
Yeah.
Like, I never
Never have
got
I done
that
it.
in movies.
Nope.
So I'm like, okay.
Nope.
So anyhow, yes, they have their night of passion, and whatnot. And you find out that, yeah, he was one of the big things you find out. Yeah, he's a lawyer. He used to be a prosecutor, but he went to become more of a defender because you make more money being a public defender and stuff like that, or getting basically the vet. And so the morning comes, and she's kind of waking up, and her husband's just sitting on the side of the bed, and she's like, morning, morning, and she's like, oh, did you leave a window open because it's chilly? And she raises her hand, and she's handcuffed to him, and he looks at it, and he's just like, did you have sweet dreams? And she's like, yeah, what's going on? She's kind of confused by this, and he's like, well, it's time for you to wake up. And he pulls out a gun and blows his own fucking brains out.
What?
Yeah. So yes, all of a sudden this happens, and she's just like,
Not
what?
see that coming.
Well, I mean, I did give you the premise. I thought she woke. And she's not even crying. Like, again, Megan Fox, not a great actress. So now she's hooked to a man who's obviously weighs a lot more. There's no cell phone service because, again, we got that topic going on. What we always say, just movie device. So she's trying to find a way, and she literally in the closet, her wedding dress, like there's nothing else, her wedding dress is hanging up there. Like, he leaves this clues. He knows she knows he's been cheating on her. But what you also kind of find out is he got in trouble with some people. They were going to basically blackmail him, and so his business, he was going to go under. And one guy who somehow went to jail because of her is now out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's what they did. This lawyer left her and basically told these two guys, listen, the safe's here. She knows the combination. Get the combination. Do what you want with her. Like, basically giving her up on a silver platter to a man who wants to murder her. Which you kind of find all this out in quick backstories as the time's going on. But she's lugging him around. So she takes the wedding dress and she has him on it, and she's trying to, because there's no knives, there's nothing in this. So she's trying to even find a way to chop off his hand. He's cleaned out this house. And again, they're in the middle of a fucking lake house. And so I'm just so bored. I just like, none of this. Like, the premise was there, but the execution was not. It turns out the boyfriend or the guy she was sleeping with was invited, just was told to come there, and it was a setup. So he was there when these two guys come. And it's so dumb because, like, she can't go anywhere, but she's somehow dodging two people for a while, lugging her dead husband who is handcuffed to her. So I don't care how dumb bad guys are. There comes a point where you just follow the trail of blood. And look, there she is. So, yeah,
right.
Your life. This is one of those movies I just got bored with quick, and I'm just like, okay. So she goes to like a boathouse. She's dragging him across the backyard to a boat, where she finds like something like an anchor. But they can see the trail and they still can't find her. Like, I don't get it, and everything. It just does not make sense. And I'll be honest, Soto. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil this because there's nothing to spoil. But no, this was just shit. This is pure shit, Soto. Maybe better acting, maybe a better story, but I'm just like, how dumb can these two robbers? They finally do find her, kind of, and they're like, and she doesn't know the combination, and he reads a note, and he's like, no, it's the day your husband proposed. And that was it. Like, yes, no. There's very few movies that pains me to watch, and I know I've watched a few.
Wow.
And this one was getting painful because, again,
news for you.
I wasn't expecting, like, I don't expect greatness. Obviously, I knew I wasn't expecting much out of this, but I'm like, give me a good suspense, because the premise kind of reminded me about think it's called Gerald's Game, a Stephen King novel.
Yeah. Hmm.
Very simple, but that dealt with the psyche because yeah, that was more. Her husband was kind of just having his way. It got to a point where I hate to say raping, but she kicked him off the bed and he hit his head on the floor. And obviously, this book was written before cell phones, and he died. And now it's like she's handcuffed to the bed. How does she, and all this shit's going on.
Right.
So there's, like I said, I just felt like the story could have been more, or just a more likable character, but they literally started off with her cheating on her husband, and this is supposed to be the person you're feeling sorry for, instead of creating, okay, why is he the asshole? Which technically, he never was up until this point. He just got pissed. This is a revenge plot, though. Like I said, from my understanding, it's not like he cheated on her. That was never implied. It was just became a loveless marriage. She was on cheating, and he found out. But his business, interactions, what he was doing was shady stuff, which they barely go into. So I don't even know why. His business was going to go. Something was happening. He was just going to kill himself. He's like, well, I'm going to fuck my wife while doing that. Just tell her, give her up to this one guy who wants to kill her. So yeah, I'm like, technically, I feel like he's somewhat the good guy in this marriage, but he's not. But yeah, so when you write a story where you don't want to root for anyone, I honestly wrote for the killer's little brother, who was just like, let's just go. He was just so likable. Then obviously he dies. Because, I mean, you need to have a character arc. I mean, as bad as it is, we joke about the rules. Like, I mean, this does have a beginning, middle, and end, but man, there was a bad way to get there.
Everyone's so obsessed with like having a good idea for a movie, and we've talked about it on so many movies this year where the movie had an interesting premise, but it just could not. It could not do anything beyond just having, an interesting premise. Because you just told me about this movie, and if I'm seeing, that description sight unseen, it looks pretty interesting. So,
I read that and I was in.
But then you're describing it, I'm like, I can easily picture this being boring with Megan Fox. Easily. It just the way that you do it. It's like you don't have any stakes in anything that's going on with anyone, and you're not ruining it. You're not rooting for anybody. You're just watching things happen, and that's not a great movie. At least with the bad movies that we watch, there's a reaction. I think it's even worse when there's like no reaction, like when you're just bored out of your mind.
So Soto, I'm kind of looking at my list.
Yeah.
All right.
You've seen a lot of movies.
Yeah, no,
You've seen a few.
This might go lower. I had a gut feeling about this. But I'm just kind of looking. This should tell you something, Soto. This should tell you what. At the moment, and this might go. I can't put it under that though. I might have to switch a couple of these bottom ones low. But it's funny that you mentioned the Pop-Tart movie. So Soto, I'm putting Till Death at 63. It's going under Shark Side of the Moon. Okay. I mean, that should tell you something. It's going above Unfrosted, but I'm kind of looking now what's underneath some of this, and I'm like, I think I might have to bump up things like Kind of Pregnant and Black Dynamite. I realized somehow because don't get me wrong, I wasn't fans of the Kind of Pregnant, was very cringe, but I did laugh. So I have a feeling I got to look at this bottom 10 again. I'm like, I can't
just to make sure,
because here's the thing. I'm looking at Till Death. I'm like, it was better than Unfrosted. Unfrosted was a fucking mess. And I feel like, and I know Lift needs to be down there because Lift was just so unoriginal. But I looked, I'm like, I can't put Till Death above Shark Side of the Moon. I just literally can't. I enjoyed, as cheesy and as bad as Shark Side of the Moon is, I'm like, I would rather watch that again till Death. So I'm saying right now, I have to put it on Frosted, but I'm going to, after this episode, I think I'm going to rearrange this. But I'm looking at some of the things I think that just got bumped down not by accident, just some habit. Yeah. And now that I'm really thinking this, I'm like, some of these need to be up a little bit more. There's just no way. So I'm telling you right now, Till Death will go down. I'm going to rework my bottom 10 a little bit, not my bottom 4 or 5, because I think that's so perfect. I think it's pretty it's this middle section. I'm like, yeah, I think. Yeah. So what here, actually, now that I think about it, here's what's going Black Dynamite and Kind of Pregnant are basically going to both go up a couple, and Till Death and Unfrosted is going to go down. I think I was just kept remembering how cringe Kind of Pregnant was, but then I kept now that I'm thinking about that, I'm like, but I did laugh. Like, it was bad, but there were some parts I laughed at. I'm not saying I want to go watch this Amy Schumer movie again. So, and same with Black Diamond. It just wasn't for me. and I'm already kind of forgetting. I'm like, but I did laugh at some parts, even though the overall thing. I know you love it, and we're not going to get into it. But
Oh, it's
yeah,
fine.
no,
Yeah,
no, no,
it
no.
is, yeah.
I'm just, but now that, like I said, as I'm talking out loud about this, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I think things, because Till Death, I still would put above Unfrosted. So yeah, I'm gonna rework this. So yeah, technically that would put Till Death to like 65, 68, whatever. You'll see a new bottom, but this bottom section is gonna get reworked. But yeah, no, don't see Till Death. I read that and I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm interested. I didn't even know Megan Fox was in it. Like I said, and then I said, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I don't like Megan Fox movies, because there is no range, no acting abilities, just a pretty face that for certain people. So, all right, we're leaving it at that. I don't want to overthink about this bottom 10. So,